Hey guys, welcome back to Walking with Jesus Daily. We are in day 106, and we are, I have been enjoying this quite a bit. It's been pretty incredible. It's been a pretty incredible 100 days, or 100 plus days. I just want to keep us going. This is the milk portion, and we've only got, I believe, just John today. Yeah, John 5, 1 through 3, and then 5 through 15. And we'll talk about verse 4 in this. This is a really cool story, if I remember correctly. I've not read it yet, but I'm just getting little bits and pieces here, and it looks like it's a pretty incredible story. I apologize for the long ones. Some of them are just going to be long because there's too much to cover. And I'm going to say whatever God gives me to say. And then some of these will be shorter because there won't be a lot to say. However, I just need to clarify and make sure that we're all on the same page with the last one regarding several of the things that were talked about in there. Some of that I've never seen from that perspective before, so that was different for me. I did go through and do some reading afterwards, and it's just important to point out how Jesus saw the Pharisees were focused on the outward appearance of righteousness and not the inward, the heart, the real person, and how tax collectors work. I tried to make that clear. And then about the fasting. See, Jesus is the bridegroom. Jesus is the one that they were fasting and praying about. And he was trying to make it clear. He said, I'm here, so why would my disciples fast while I'm here? Yes, they will when I'm gone, but while I'm here, it doesn't make any sense, because what you fasted and prayed for is right in front of you. He's trying to let them know that John's disciples did the same thing and the Pharisees did the same thing, and he is here. So while I'm here, he wasn't saying not to fast and not to pray. There are other things. And he even fasted and prayed himself. However, he's saying for this purpose, he was teaching that. And the last thing real quick is just about the wineskins and all of that. I just want to make sure that we're clear that the new would not be accepted in the old. Okay? The only way to accept the new is to be new, right? He was trying to make it clear that the Pharisees, they were hearing this, and so were those who were lost. And he was saying, becoming new is the only way to accept new. If you're trying to stick to the laws and traditions of the past and take my new teachings and my new way of life, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. You can't combine the two. So anyway, just want to make sure that I was clear on those things. I'm not sure if I was or not. I just kind of was rolling with whatever I was given. So let's dig in today in John chapter 5, and let's read through this in the milk. It says, again, please be in prayer. Today was a great day of prayer for me. I was just blessed that every time I closed my eyes for any reason, I was just able to just be right there with him. And let me clarify another thing to you real quick, just so you know this. There's a lot of times I don't feel like doing this recording. I'm tired. I don't have the motivation to dig deep into spiritual thoughts. It can be exhausting when you think about it, but when you get there, it's overwhelmingly energizing. So I do it anyway, even when I don't want to. And I'm human, just like anybody else, and I have my days and I have my times, but God rewards those who seek him. God rewards the obedient. So let's seek him and be obedient, not for the reward, but because he's worthy of that. Not every day is going to be like, oh yes, I get to wake up and read my Bible and dive into deep spiritual conversation. Because some days, quite frankly, you're just tired and you don't feel like it. It's those days that you need it the most. Let's dig in here. After this, there was a feast of the Jews. So after Matthew and the tax collectors and sinners and that feast, there was a feast of the Jews. And Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now there is in Jerusalem, by the sheep gate, a pool. And this is being very specific, okay? In Aramaic called Bethsaida, which has 5 roofed colonnades. So it's describing what this place looks like. So there's no question. In these 5 roofed colonnades around this pool, okay, lay a multitude of invalids, blind, lame, and paralyzed. Imagine being a person who has a work accident, who breaks a hip. There is no surgery for a broken limb. Okay, there's no way to come back from that. Why were these people laying around in these colonnades by the pool? It says here, one man was there who had been an invalid for 38 years. I am 42 years old. I could not imagine being an invalid for 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there and knew that he had already been there a long time, he said these words. Now, who knows if words got into Bethsaida about Jesus? It's gotten everywhere. You'd figure these invalids would be having people carrying them wherever they could to get to Jesus, but Jesus comes to them. He says these words, "Do you want to be healed?" Now, I want you to stop and think about that you're the person there needing healing. You're the person right now listening to this that needs healing. You have been struggling with something for 35 years, for 38 years, for 58 years. It doesn't matter. It's you who's been struggling. All of us have something. He says, "Do you want to be healed?" And the sick man answered him, "Sir, I have no one to put me into the pool when the water is stirred up. And while I am going, another steps down before me." Jesus said to him. So he says, see, this pool gets stirred up by an angel. And if you make your way into it first, you are healed. This is well documented, by the way. It says, "And while I'm going, another steps down before me." Jesus said to him, "Get up, take your bed, and walk." What is he saying to you? He says to you, "Do you want to be healed?" And you say, "Yeah, but all the ways that I'm trying, they're just not working. Something's always getting in the way. I'm always falling back. I'm relapsing back to what I was. I try so hard and then I fail, or I don't make it, or something happens in another setback, and it's been years and I just can't beat it." And Jesus says these words to you, "Get up." It says, "I heal all things. Take your bed and walk." And at once the man was healed, and he took up his bed and walked. Now that day was the Sabbath. So the Jews said to the man who had been healed, "It's the Sabbath, and it is not lawful for you to take up your bed." You can't carry your bed. Yeah, I know you've been laying on for 38 years, but you can't do that. But he answered them, "The man who healed me, that man said to me, 'Take up your bed and walk.'" And we're going to talk about this in the meat. They asked him, "Who is the man who said to you, 'Take up your bed and walk'?" Now the man who had been healed did not know who it was, so he didn't know Jesus. For Jesus had withdrawn, as there was a crowd in the place. Afterward, Jesus found him in the temple and said to him, "See, you are well. Sin no more, that nothing worse may happen to you." The man went away and told the Jews that it was Jesus who healed him. All right, and I'm going to read this real quick, and then we're going to go to the meat if you so desire. Some manuscripts have verse 4. Verse 3, waiting for the moving of the water. Verse 4, for an angel of the Lord went down at certain seasons into the pool and stirred the water. Whoever stepped in first after the stirring of the water was healed of whatever disease he had. See you in the meat.